Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast Betting Show. It is week 10 and we are going to give you all your betting needs. We have the spreads, the trebles, the anytime touchdown scorers. We've got everything. Adam is joining me once again. Adam, we've already had a game play this week. It was the exciting, enthralling Amazon special that we always have of the Bears versus the Panthers. I'm guessing you've caught up on it by now.
I saw the highlights of it. There wasn't many.
Good display of kicking.
Yeah, I thought so. Quite impressive. No, it wasn't great, but I think we both picked the Bears, didn't we, to win?
Yeah.
Seemed the logical move. Yeah, not a lot happened. I don't really have much to say.
No, I really thought the Bears would do more than what they actually did. I thought they might pass the ball around a bit more, but I thought Cole Kmet would get involved a bit more than he did. But it is what it is. Those Amazon games just haven't really been great, have they?
No, Amazon is single-handedly trying to kill the NFL from all excitement. So, yeah, it was pretty rough. And I saw the highlights. There wasn't many, as I said, and yeah, that's about it, really.
Well, as we look into what's coming up over the weekend, I already know that your first game that you want to talk about is the early kickoff as well. It's the 2:30 kickoff in Frankfurt, where I was last week. We've left Freddie and Sky there to do the coverage this week. That could be carnage. So, Adam, talk me through what you think about Colts versus Patriots. Where's your money?
Well, firstly, it will be carnage. It's not. It could be carnage. It will be carnage with them two. So yeah, first game, the Colts and the Patriots. Colts are 2-point favourites. Over unders at 43. I like the Colts in this game. I like the Colts at -2 at 10-11 when it comes to the spread. I think that this team is just more capable of putting up more points, and I think they'll do it against the Patriots. Stat I heard: the Colts are the only team to score 20 points in every game.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's something that's going to have to happen. You feel in order to win this game. So yeah, I really like the Colts in this one. The Patriots have looked a bit sort of not great. They've been okay at times, but they've struggled a lot. I think they're going to struggle again in this one. I do think the Patriots can run on the Colts. That's definitely something that they can do. And I think Ramondre Stevenson this week will have a good week. But yeah, I just don't. I think the Colts with Minshew, he's got Pittman. It sounds like Downs is going to play. I think there's just enough weapons there with the likes of Jonathan Taylor as well. So yeah.
Yeah, they're doing quite well on both sides of the ball now. I think the defense has started to catch up and pick up and play to what the strengths that we knew they could. So that, and the Patriots just really struggle to move the ball when they are relying on Mac Jones to do anything. So I just can't put my money on Mac Jones any week from now on. And like you said, Colts quite freely putting points up against every single team they come up against. So I'd steer towards the Colts, and especially at the -2. We talk about this quite a lot, don't we? That's a field goal. They only need to win by a field goal, and the bet is in. And I think that's a steal for me when it comes to the Colts that, like we're saying, are putting points up. So yeah, I really like that one. Adam, what's the next one you've got for us?
My second one, so we're going to go for the New Orleans Saints are going up against the Vikings. I think in this one, again, I think this one might be a bit more of a split decision. The Saints are actually 2.5-point favourites in this matchup. The over-under set at 41. I don't really have much of an opinion on the over-under. I think 41 could well be about where it is. To be honest, it's not really something that I'd be looking to get involved with. But when it comes to the spread, I quite like the Vikings at +2.5 in this one at even money. I just feel like I think with someone like Dobbs there now, although he isn't going to pass the ball quite as well as what Kirk Cousins could do, we saw how he played for the Cardinals earlier this season. He's clearly capable. Um, he might not be everyone's choice as their starting quarterback, but he is capable of doing things. And I think that you'll probably find that he will do pretty well for this Vikings team. When you look at both defenses, the Vikings not quite as good as the Saints. The Saints are pretty stout against the run, which I think will help them a little bit. But I do wonder if in this game Dobbs is going to have to pass the ball quite a lot anyway. I don't really feel like Alexander Mattison, who is basically the only running back now for the Vikings, is going to really make that much of a difference in this game. And so, I feel like Dobbs can do it, and I think that's why I quite like the Vikings at +2.5.
You're not convincing me, or like putting a lot of faith in this +2 with the way you talk about it. I was more on the side of the Saints. I think the Saints have got more about them. Really like the Josh Dobbs story. Think it's fantastic. We'll be rooting for him to continue his little great run that he's on with multiple teams. But I just think the Saints have got something going now. All their pieces are now fit. I think Michael Thomas is fully fit now as well. So with Taysom Hill, Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas, Shaheed. I think there's just a lot going on there, and they are quite a strong defense. The defense is good, so I'm struggling to move away from the Saints in this one.
I think my main concern for the Saints is that I feel like they don't put up enough points. I think that's going to be their downfall in the end this season. They just don't put the points up. I know that Taysom Hill can come in with some trick plays, and that's something that a lot of teams just aren't ready to deal with. So that always helps. But I feel like Derek Carr it hasn't really clicked in the way that I think we all hoped it would. Yes, Shaheed can use his speed and they can go over the top. And actually, the Vikings are a defense you can score over the top of. So Shaheed is someone you might want to look at in this one. But I just feel like it's not a team that's going to go out and score loads. They're going to rely very heavily on that defense. And although uh, Dobbs is new for the Vikings, I think he's got the more exciting weapons at the moment. I think Hawkinson is probably, when it comes to tight ends, he's the most exciting tight end. When it comes to Addison at the moment, I think again he's probably the most exciting wide receiver out there. Olave has not been great this season. Shaheed, yes, can go over the top, but he's not going to be consistent with it. And Michael Thomas, again, he's a good slot receiver, but he's not the Michael Thomas of old. So I just kind of feel like the Vikings have got a little bit more about them on the offense. I think Dobbs can use his legs quite a lot in this game, and I think that will probably help them. So because it's the plus, it's only 2.5. Obviously, you would want it to be more than a field goal, but I just kind of feel like they're the side at the moment. I think that there's a lot of confidence after last week. I think that will breed quite a lot of confidence. They probably felt, and we're not sure if our season's going to fall off a cliff here. And the fact that Dobbs came in and didn't really know who he was throwing the ball to really made a difference and really probably helped them out quite a lot.
Yeah, they've kept their wild card hopes alive, really, haven't they? Their playoff hopes, should I say, alive, especially with the run of games that they've got coming up just before they play the Bengals. Really, I think they've got a nice little string of 4 games. So, yeah, I think the momentum obviously will be there with them. I think if Cousins was in there, I'd be saying this was a Vikings win, so I can get on board with you. With them, but just not sure whether I need to see more of Dobbs in that team. I'm not sure whether it was a one-off, a bit of a fairy tale. Where are we going next, Adam?
So my third game, Tennessee Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I believe the Titans are 1-point favorites in this game, which no, sorry, the Bucks are 1-point favourites. I was close. I knew I'd get it one way or the other. The Bucks are 1-point favourites at the moment. The over/under set at 39, so we're not expecting a particularly high-scoring game here. I like the Titans at +1 in this one. It is a bit of a coin flip game, obviously, with the the size of the spread being very small. But I do like the Titans in this one. I think Will Levis has shown that he is capable of being a starting quarterback in the games that he's played so far. He's clearly capable of having a very good deep ball, and the Bucks are currently 27th when it comes to giving up passing touchdowns. So I think that you might find that Hopkins could have a really good day on that one. So I do like the look of him. I also think Westbrook Akine, I think, has potential here as well. Um, so yeah, I do like the -1. Both teams, like I say, it's quite close, and it feels like they're quite close as well in like record and just how they've both been this season. But I just feel like the Titans have slightly more offensive weapons now that they've actually got someone who can throw the ball, and I think that that is really making the difference. The Bucks obviously did very well in they scored 37 points against the Texans last week. Clearly can put points on the board as well, which is why the over under of 39 I feel is a bit small. I like the over in this game because they can both put points up. I just feel like the Bucks are going to struggle against this kind of defense, which is very strong against the run, very strong against the pass, and I just think it's going to be tough for them to put up enough points in order to beat the Titans in this particular game. So yeah, I like the Titans at my +1. I'm surprised. Last night it was -1, so it has flipped. But I still like the Titans for it, and yeah, I think the Titans could have a sneakily good end of the season coming up. I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can never write them off, can you? Especially with
Yeah.
Vrabel there, they're always going to come out with something new and different, and they're not going up against the Steelers defense this week. So I think it's a bit of a relief. Especially, I think Will Levis will definitely be watching as much of CJ Stroud's tape against them as he possibly can, because they were beat over the top quite a lot, and that's his strength really. So yeah, I'm kind of I'm on the fence with the game, but I think you really talked me into the Titans with this one, and I am now going with you at the +1 with that they can win this one, because they don't give up that many points, and they are a strong defense. And there is, and we saw the Bucks last week, didn't we? They do give up the points, so yeah, quite happy with
I
that.
think we've like I say we've seen the Bucks put points up, but we've also seen them give them up as well. That's why I like the over. I just think the over in this one's a nice one as well, 10 to 11. But I don't know. I just don't see the Bucks being able to put up as many points as they did against the Texans against this Titans defense. I think that's kind of where, if you look at the strength of the two teams, the strength of the Titans defense is just enough in order to sort of like push you towards them rather than the Bucks.
What's your next game?
Next one, Atlanta Falcons are going up against the Arizona Cardinals in what I believe is going to be Kyler Murray's comeback.
Yeah.
I've gone for the -1.5 for the Atlanta Falcons in this one at 10 to 11. The over/under set at 43. Don't really have much of an opinion on that. I think it might go under, but probably not really one that you want to be betting on, I wouldn't have thought. But yeah, I like the Falcons for this game. The Falcons have they've kind of flattered to deceive a little bit this season. I think a few of us probably felt they would do a little bit better. Now, whether that's just because Arthur Smith doesn't want to use his best players, or whether that's just because they're just not quite there yet, I'm not sure. We all said, didn't we, that they need a quarterback who's kind of a higher quality quarterback. They brought Tyler Heineke in, so that I think will help compared to Desmond Ridder. But again, it's still not like high quality quarterback, which I think they need to address in the draft coming up. But I think they've got enough in this game in order to be able to do something. They're very, very strong against the run. In fact, they're the number one team against rushing touchdowns. They're very good at that. Really struggle against the pass. But the Cardinals, if you actually look at them, struggle against both. And so they don't really have any strength on that defense. And then I just feel like there's going to be rust from Kyler Murray. I just don't. He's been out for so long. He's had such a bad injury. I just can't see him putting up insane numbers in week one. I just think it's going to be too much for him. Having said that, going into this further into the season at the end of the season, I actually think give it a couple of weeks, that is a team that is going to be capable of winning games, and they might not be quite as high in the draft as what I think we all thought they would be, because they do have some fight in them. But for this particular one, I think the Falcons will just have enough. -1.5. It's under the field goal. So yeah, 10-11. I like that.
Yeah, you got to think that the Cardinals, Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon, both, they both want to win. Murray wants to win to keep his position and make sure they don't go after one of those quarterbacks out of college. And Gannon's going to want to win because it's his head coaching job, isn't it? It's his first time there. So I think you're right, though. They're still carrying a lot of injuries, aren't they? They're not all fit. Even if there's some people coming back, I think they've had a lot of trouble on that O-line with injuries. The running backs have all had injuries. I know some of them are coming back this week, but it just feels like they're all coming back. Some of them are coming back off injury at the same time. So I think there might be, like you say, some rust and some niggles there with everybody. So now's the time to probably take the Falcons to beat them because, like as you said, I think Cardinals might be good later on. Away from betting, just a quick opinion. We've seen the likes of Kyle Pitts, who in the draft everyone was going, this is well exciting. Drake London, who was exciting, and Bijan Robinson, who everyone was like, he's the greatest thing. What's the reason that these three are? Did you think it's Arthur Smith?
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? I mean, he's
you can't be wrong on three, can you?
He's calling the plays, isn't he? I mean, moustache or no moustache, it's not helping. So yeah, I mean, he went on some sort of 5-minute diatribe of why he's using Tyler Algier more, and Tyler Algier is not a bad running back.
We all liked
I
him
think
last year.
he must be feeling pretty crap throughout all of this because he's the one that everyone's saying, "What the hell are you playing him for?" He's a decent running back. He's not
Because it was great last year.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is that all people are doing are just asking, why are you not playing the number 8 pick in the draft? That's basically what people are asking. And I think it's a fair question, really. It's like, why did you pick him then? If you're not going to use him in the way that you should be using him. I mean, we saw how he was used in Texas. It was like he was the essentially the offense. It's like this is how you need to use this guy. They're not doing it, and it's very strange. Um, when it comes to Pitts and London, I I do wonder if there is a limit to what he feels his quarterback can do. And so that might be why they have been a bit less. But there's no excuses on Bijan.
Strong possibility they'll have a new quarterback next year from the draft. You got another game for us, Adam?
Yeah, so my fifth one to go for is in the Detroit Lions against the LA Chargers. I've gone for the Lions -3 in this one. I think it's 20-21, so it's not a bad price for it. And the over-under set at 48.5. I quite like the over in this one because both defenses are not that great, to be honest. I think at the beginning of the season, we was pleasantly surprised by the Lions defense. They looked okay, but I must admit I haven't really followed their defense that much. But I don't know if there's been injuries or not, but they have steadily declined and have kind of become a bit of the middle of the road defense. The Chargers have as we've been saying for months rather than weeks, their defense just doesn't really exist much. So they're both struggling defensively. Um, I just I feel really this could be a shootout, and I don't have any problems with Jared Goff in this one being away because it's in the LA stadium that he played in for years, and he's there's no real weather issues there. It should be fine. So I think he'll be fine with that one. They've got Montgomery back, which I think is a big plus for them. Laporta's back and he's fully fit again. Yeah, I just think although both teams have weapons, I think the Lions have more, and I think the defenses are pretty similar. So I'm going to go for the Lions.
Did he play in that stadium for years?
Well, he played in LA for years. There you go.
Well, I played
Close
in.
enough.
Started in. Did he start in St. Louis? Did he start? Were they still the St. Louis Rams when he joined?
Might be. I can't remember.
Yeah, interesting to know. I know you spoke about one of the games switching. It was the Titans game switching in the odds. At the start of the week, this game was -1 to the Lions.
Yeah.
So if you managed to get on that early, wow, you were quids in because I'm all on the Lions for this one. Two teams, as you say, that are struggling defensively, but it's an offensive-minded coach versus a defensive-minded coach, and that is going to be why the Lions win, because their offense is going to be calling the right plays and getting down the field and in the end zone better than the Chargers. So I like that one. Like the most, like the Lions for that one. Can't really disagree with you on that at all.
And hopefully Brandon Staley sails off into the sunset in a few weeks' time, and the Chargers actually get a decent offensive-minded head coach to help uh, Justin Herbert out. And actually, it wouldn't surprise me if it was the guy on the other side that they might go for. I
Who are
think
you thinking?
Ben Johnson would be a great guy to help the Chargers out. So yeah.
Do you not think they'd have Kellen Moore do it for a bit and then wait till the off season?
Be the head coach.
Yeah.
I think for the yes, I mean probably for the rest of the season. Yeah, but I mean like I suppose you could have Kellen Moore become the head coach, but
He's a bit young, isn't he?
he is. But I do wonder. I feel like maybe Ben Johnson would be a good. They need an offensive-minded head coach. That's what they need.
Yeah. Or they need a Harbaugh that might not be at Michigan next year.
Yeah, I mean that is an option, but
It all seems to be falling into place, especially if they ban him as well.
yeah,
The sign stealing. I think he's going to get
stealing.
very angry with the NCAA and throw his teddies out and come to the NFL and have a great.
Is he not always a little bit angry though?
He's mellowed out in the last 5 years. He's changed the way he is. So
Has he? Has he though? Okay.
yeah, and Nick Saban, he's mellowed out a little bit as well. Yeah.
Okay.
We move on to our touchdown scorers. I'm sure you've been looking through all of the games and finding those fantastic anytime scorer bets. Adam, what are your favorites that you like through the games?
Yeah, so just because obviously we got the German game for the Colts Patriots one, I do like Pittman at 15-8. I think that's a decent price for him. We don't know 100% if Downs is going to play or not, but we think that he probably will. But I prefer Pittman for this particular one at that price. I like Demario Douglas for the Patriots as well at 11-5. That's a good price for him as well. He's getting a lot of targets. He's definitely one that you want to be looking out for on any sort of like over target bet, receptions bet. Definitely him. In the ones that we've spoken about, Saints Vikings, Shaheed at 3-1, I think is a very, very good price as well. Really like Hopkins for the Titans against the Bucks at 13-8. I think that's a good one. And Lions Chargers Laporta at 12-5. I think that's a very decent price for him. Of the ones that we haven't spoken about, Uh, for the uh, Baltimore Ravens, Gus Edwards at 11 to 8. I'm surprised he's as high as he is, given that I mean he got 2 last week and 3 the
Hmm.
week before. Surprises me that he's 11 to 8. I know that he's up against the Browns, but I still think that Gus Edwards is a good price this week at that one. Um, really like Mark Andrews as always. I know he kind of let us down last week, but he's got a really good record against the Browns. 7 to 4 is a decent price for him. Um, that was pretty much it of the early games, to be honest. There wasn't really much else that I thought was like amazing. Obviously in the Saints Viking game, Josh Dobbs, he normally gets in, so 100 to 30. I quite liked him. The late games, I really struggled with it. The Commanders and Seahawks, there's not a lot there. I don't think Lockett seemed the obvious one, but he's got a bit of a hamstring injury.
Surely your money's on the Cowboys game, on absolutely everybody to get in the end zone.
No, you see, this is where you're just mistaken. This. I know where you're going with this, and I did actually want to bring this game up because on the spread, the Cowboys are 17-point favorites, which I believe is the biggest one we've seen this season. But the over under is set at 39.
Yeah, it'd be 39-0.
No, they
You
don't
think
need
you,
to.
you think that Tommy DeVito can
No,
drive
no,
down the
no, I
field?
don't. I don't think Tommy DeVito will do much at all, and I don't think Danny's going to help him either. But I, I think, I think you're going to find that the Giants put up 9 points or 12 points in this game. I think you're going to get 3 or 4 field goals, and so now you're like, okay, so that 12 that they've got, or the 9 they've got, that now means that they need to get like 30. Do we really think the Cowboys are just going to keep going and going and going when they don't need to?
Yeah, especially
Because
against
it's
the
a
Giants.
divisional game. Is that the only reason that we're going with this?
Yeah, also, I find with the Cowboys, and I've noticed this quite a lot this year, that when they play teams that aren't brilliant, they go out and destroy them, and then they think they're on top of the world, and they're like, look how much points we scored, we're amazing, we're incredible. And then when they play against good teams, they struggle a little bit,
No.
and it's not quite there. So I think this is another one of those games where they're gonna, they lost last week to the Eagles, they're gonna bounce back, they're gonna play the Giants, they're gonna absolutely hammer them, and then they're gonna be, oh, we're Super Bowl contenders, look how good we are again. So yeah, I can't see them wanting to take the foot off the pedal when it comes to the Giants. I think the rivalry is deep enough there for them to want to go out and just keep applying the pressure. And we've now seen this week that there's been a bit of upset between Wink and the defenders on social media. So I think what has been a very good defense for us over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, minus the Raiders game, there's obviously unrest there, isn't there? So
I might have it completely wrong. I'm happy to admit that I've got it completely wrong, but I don't like the idea of taking minus 17. That's a lot of points. Even with the Cowboys being as strong as they are and the Giants struggling as much as they are offensively, I just don't like taking that many points against
if
them.
I told you it was 20-0 at halftime, would you be surprised?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a Giants fan. Um, what odds did we talk? Did I sidetrack you from the odds from the Seattle Commanders game? Was that?
there just there wasn't a lot there. That was the problem. Like I say, Lockett at 6 to 4 was the one that I kind of thought about, but he is coming back from a hamstring issue at the moment, or he's suffering from it. So I feel like DK Metcalf is just having one of them seasons where he's just not being used. JSN, I love JSN. Think he's done really well. Certainly coming into the team a lot more now. I just don't. It doesn't for the prices, he's probably the one that I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably slightly more interested in him, because I just feel like I say he is just getting more involved. But one area that the Commanders really struggle in is against the run. And to me, I know Walker is 4-5 favourite, but I do like Zach Charbonnet at 2-1 in this one. The snaps have changed.
He's out snapped 2 weeks running now, is it?
Yes,
but
so
not carries though.
Weeks 4, not carries. Weeks 4 to 7, Walker was doing 70% of the snaps, and Charbonnet 30. That has now gone not completely the other way, but it's like 55-45 to Charbonnet. I think against the Ravens, Charbonnet did have more carries.
Do you think
Walker has more receptions and more targets, but Charbonnet is getting just as many carries, I believe.
Oh, I'm gonna.
You might have a look at that.
I'm gonna have a look at that.
Yeah, but I think it's So
Charbonnet had 4 carries last week to Walker's 9. Maybe he's just a better blocker.
But yeah, I just feel like it's going that way.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming a bit more of a split there. We know they like to run the ball, so why wouldn't you get them both involved and just keep running it down people's necks, especially when you've got the 3 receivers you've got and you can pull them out at any time. So that's good. I had some issues getting the odds for some of the games. I did want to know what the odds were on Dalton Schultz getting in the end zone for the Texans. Couldn't get that one, so I might have to have a look at that one at a later date. Maybe tomorrow they'll be out because the Nico Collins is now out and Pierce is out. So I thought, Tank well obvious. Let's have a look at the odds on Schultz. Obviously couldn't have a look at that.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm assuming the reason that they're not there is because of the Bengals, because they don't know about Higgins or Chase, although I believe Higgins has been ruled out now. But Chase also has an injury, so they're not too sure about that one. And you couldn't get any odds for the Cardinals at home to the Falcons because of Murray and Connor, I suppose, is probably what it is. Drake London, they don't know if he's going to play because he missed last week. So yeah, I think that's the reason for them too.
We move on to the trebles. Adam, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. First of all, I haven't got Skies. He hasn't told me what he's done, but we will put it out. I'm sure he will let us know. He's too busy chatting up Bill Belichick, I believe. Oh, well, I wasn't going to go down that route. I'm sure he's also chatting up Phoebe Schechter, bless her. So my first treble for the early games, I've gone for Mark Andrews at 7-4. Got a really good record. He's been really consistent this season. I know he's kind of screwed us all last week, but I'm sure he'll come back and he'll have a good game. DeAndre Hopkins at 13-8. As I said in the preview with the Titans, I think that he's going to have a pretty decent relationship with Levis with the deep ball, and the Bucs can't stop that very well. And my last one is Joshua Dobbs, quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, at 100-30. I think that I can see him running around with no hair on fire because he doesn't have any. So I can see him doing that and getting in the end zone at some point during that game. All 3 of them, 30.28 to 1.
Come for the big boy odds again. I had to put someone different in my odds to make them higher because when I first did it, it was come out at like 10 to 1. But I have gone for Alvin Kamara going up against the Vikings. I think he's good for a touchdown every single week now, regardless of who he comes up against, at 11-10 as well. I think he's one of them. If you can get, like I say, if you can get the odds higher than evens, then he's worth it. Then had Najee Harris at 21-20. Packers can't defend the run. We've seen that. So I'm putting Najee in as the one over Warren. And then to boost my odds, I've put in Cade Otton, who, despite having a tough matchup against the Titans, I believe he's seeing the targets and getting the ball thrown to him. So there is the potential. I heard something earlier this week that the public betting is 57% better than the professional betting currently.
Really?
So people betting on what they think over the professionals. I think is first time in like something like 20 odd something years that the public's beating the professional. Odd. Maybe it's us, Adam. Maybe we're driving them up with our show.
Are you claiming that we're not professional?
No one pays me to do this. No.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Amateur. And that comes out at 20.52 to 1. So nice little payback on that one if it comes in with a couple of people on there. I think almost guaranteed.
Yeah, I think they've got very good chances of coming in. So yeah, not bad. Kamara, I would expect him to have a good game. Who were the other two? I completely forgot.
Nagy, obviously, you're unsure about that one, but you know the Packers can't defend the run.
Yeah, the Packers can't defend the run at all. So yeah, I think you've in that respect, you should. Yeah, I could. Given the way that the Packers defend, they're so far off the man that it feels like you could end up in a position where the Steelers are only like 2 or 3 yards from the goal line. So yeah, I could see that happening.
And then obviously we've already spoke about K-Dot and you weren't a pro on it, but you know.
I like K-Dot and I just think it's a bad week.
Yeah, you were on him last week, and that was the time to be on it. Evening games, I think ours are. We're getting the same at the evening games because there's only 4 games to pick from most weeks now. So when you're picking a treble, it's getting harder to get different names in there because we talk so much. So we've got one player different in our evening trebles. Now mine comes out at 23.39. What are the odds on yours?
So mine's 19.91, but I am tempted to change it.
What, to my bet?
No, not to yours at all, to something different. I was split between 2 guys as my last pick. So just to go over the 2 that we've both gone for, CD Lamb against the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants. God, you got excited then, didn't you? You thought CD Lamb was on your team. 21-20, I think that's he'll score. That won't be an issue. Sam Laporta for the Detroit Lions against the Chargers at 12-5. Now, I think he'll score. That's not a problem. But I have a conundrum. Now, I've got 2 guys written down here, and I didn't tell you this because I only went with one just because I thought I'd see earlier. But I've got 2 guys. Now, I've got Zach Charbonnet at 2-1. But on the other side of the ball, I've got Brian Robinson at 6-4. Now, the reason that Robinson is slightly interesting to me is that the Seahawks are not very good when it comes to defending the run, which is surprising to me because I thought they would be pretty good. But when I looked at the stats, they do struggle with it. So I am tempted to change it. So I don't know. What should I do? That makes it 16-1. If I put in Robinson, and it's 19.91 if I put in Charbonnet.
Wow, I've got Jackson Smith and Jigba in there, who we said earlier was a nice bet for that. Already 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. Actually had a decent game against the Ravens, despite the fact they didn't score. So yeah, I've got Jackson Smith and Jigba, so we're both going down the same line roughly. Do you think that the Seahawks, now they've got Leonard Williams, might be better at defending the run?
Yes, I mean you would hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, of all the guys to get in there, he's a pretty good one to get in. So you would hope that they would become a little bit better. It's really difficult because I just feel like when you look at it for the whole season, they've struggled. I don't know if one guy is necessarily going to change it completely, but if one guy could change it, he might be one of them. So it does put you off. It is. I found this week incredibly tough when it came to touchdown scorers, especially the evening games. Like I said, I feel Lamb and Laporta are 2 very good options, but after that, it was very difficult, especially without the Cardinals Falcons odds as well. But yeah, I mean, I may well go with yours. I may go for JSM. We might just put one out as a
just one. One for the franchise tag. Well, we haven't got Sky on here, so we've got no 1,000-1 bets that we can all jump on.
No.
So God. Unfortunately, haven't got that. But if you follow us on Instagram last week at the Frankfurt game. We put out a little bet from the stands when we were watching the players warm up, and we put some odds on Rashee Rice, who I really liked in the game, and we put the odds out for him, and there was a nice little payback on that. So I think we're going to do something similar again this week. So keep your eye pre-game if you're going to watch the Colts Pats game, because we will put another bet out for specifically just for that game. So keep your eye on that, and good luck to all your teams, and we'll be back next week.
Keep your eye on Adam's Twitter page, where once again we had another winner.
Well,
just saying, reception bet over receptions, another 400 and something pounds came our way. So keep your eye on that, and
just
plug will be going out as well.
Plug in his own page. I'll take some commission off of that, so that'd be all right. Cheers, Adam.